What are we waiting for? Lights, camera, Retro Man!
G'day viewers, Retro Man here and welcome to the 80s Show. Now guys, you may have seen my earlier videos, my Kiss reaction video to their Grand Final performance. I also did a little follow-up called the Grand Final Encore. So if you haven't seen those episodes, guys, definitely check them out. But today I will be talking about why Kiss loves Australia. They've been coming here, guys, since 1980. There is fan bases everywhere in all pockets of the country, and there is a lot of affection for this band. I mean, they came out in 1973. They've been at it for 50 years. They first came to Australia at the end of 1980, and they really put on a show. I mean, the youth of the day really connected with Kiss, and they brought the house down in Australia in 80. Now guys, when they first arrived back in 1980, they did a press junket, and they were actually met by the Australian comedian Norman Gunston, better known as Gary McDonald. Now guys, there was a lot of interesting banter, should I say, between Gary and the band when they first arrived in Australia. Gunston gets in there and has a bit to say to Gene Simmons about his relationship with Diana Ross. He also has some banter there with Ace Frehley about that last Australian interview where he wasn't feeling so well, and Ace really has a few jokes to pull out of his bag. And guys, Paul Stanley really was just caught up in it. It was a very jovial interview, and guys, they meant business though when they took to the stage in 1980 in Oz. And if you remember, guys, back in 1981 there was this documentary that aired on Channel 10 in Australia called The Inner Sanctum, and this documentary really went behind the scenes into the inner workings of what went on at those Kiss concerts in 1980. I mean, they showed the fans, they showed Kiss's manager, there was interview excerpts, there was plenty of live performances, and that was a real treat in 1981 for Kiss fans. And by all accounts, guys, Kiss were very appreciative of what happened in Australia in 1980. I mean, the fans showed the love, and they did in return with some powerhouse concerts. But it took about 15 years before Kiss came back to our shores, and they didn't make it back here until 1995. And when they did, they came to do a tour without the face paint. It was something different. I mean, that was when Kiss were really in their experimental phase with their image. And once again, those concerts sold out. And the band has been back many times since then. I mean, they have a real affection and a real relationship with Australia. They came back in the 2000s for countless shows, and in the 2010s as well. And whenever they came to Australia, they were always happy to be here, and fans were always happy to see them. And guys, it all culminated in a concert series that they were going to do just when COVID hit, and that had to be delayed. And then they came back and hit a home run in 2022 with a string of shows right throughout Australia. And guys, it really was one of those things where we felt that was it. It was over and out. But they were recruited last minute for the AFL Grand Final in September 2023. So guys, they have a deep connection with Australia. I think there's a lot of Australians out there that really connected with Kiss's entertainment value. I mean, they really dress up, they put on the face paint, and the Australian public kind of gets swept up in that, and they enjoy the euphoria and the spectacle. So Kiss have been very complimentary about the Australian fans. They've been very complimentary about how they've been treated in Australia over the years. And guys, I think they just love coming here. So it's really cool when you hear good things to and fro about a band. I mean, they love the country, the fans love seeing them, and really they put on a great show the other day at the AFL Grand Final. And guys, they've been on the road promoting this performance for an entire week in Australia. I mean, the momentum has been strong, and Gene Simmons, of course, when he arrived in Australia, he was wearing a little black cap with a money bag on there, which kind of tells you before you even interview him what he is here for. But guys, it was more than the money. This was a really good, solid rock and roll performance. And guys, by all accounts, Kiss love Australia. And if you ask Paul Stanley what he thinks of Australia, I mean, just before he went out on stage, he called it God's country. And Gene Simmons was really behind Australia throughout the week. I mean, he was asked, would he live here? And he said, guys, I really, really would. It's a wonderful place, but all of my stuff is on the other side of the world. So Paul Stanley even indicated that when he was here back in 1980, he loved the country that much that he was looking at houses to buy. So guys, it was great to get a rock and roll band here that really loves the Australian landscape, and it all came together so well. And guys, I think people that aren't even fans of Kiss enjoyed the show the other day for what it was. It was a spectacle. There was a lot of interaction with those young kids, and it was a real tremendous way for Kiss to go out. And guys, there was that much fire on display. It was actually a no-fly zone above the stadium. That's what they billed it as. And guys, these flames went high. So it was really, guys, a lavish performance. And they really brought the fun and the splash to rock and roll once again. So guys, Australians love their footy, and they also love rock and roll bands. And Kiss is one of the biggest rock and roll bands in the world. I mean, if you asked Gene Simmons, he would tell you that they are the biggest. That's Gene for you. So guys, if you missed it live, definitely check out the final performance of Kiss on the AFL Grand Final. It is really something else. I mean, just seeing those kids there, I mean, Kiss have been around for 50 years. They weren't even born, but they were decked out in the gear and they just gave it their all. So that combination of Kiss and these Aussie kids really took it to the next level, and I loved every minute of it. So I think it was the perfect way to kick off the grand final between Brisbane and Collingwood. And really, guys, I think the boys, Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, would be really proud of their efforts today. They really brought the house down. But guys, they kind of referred to that grand final performance as the end, but it really is the end now, because they're doing one final show in Sydney this week in early October. And guys, I'm sure for those that have tickets, Kiss will not disappoint. So guys, they've had a great relationship over the years. They've had a real love affair with our country, and that's just a taste of Kiss throughout the years in Australia. So guys, that's my little episode on Kiss's relationship with Australia. They definitely love this country down under, and it was a lot of fun reflecting on Kiss in Oz throughout the years. So guys, if you've missed them, I have 2 episodes playing on the channel. I have my initial reaction to Kiss's grand final performance, and I also have a second video, guys, called The Grand Final Encore, where I get into the nitty-gritty of what some people had to say about that performance, and I shed a little bit more light on it. So guys, definitely check out those episodes if you've missed them. But I'm happy to come back and talk some more about Kiss at a later date. I mean, these guys are still rocking out all over the world. It's virtually the end of the line for them now after 50 years. But guys, I think they went out in style in Australia. So as always, please like, comment and subscribe, and keep watching the 80s show, because you will never know what is going to pop up next. Until next time, guys, this is Retro Man, living the dream, 80s style. Stay gold.
Thanks for watching. Retro Man will return faster than a boomerang, and with just as much firepower as a Kiss spectacle. Please subscribe, and good night, viewers.